Okay, I think we're good. Yes, I do stuff my mic in my boobs. Thanks for asking. Hey, everybody! Welcome to another video reaction of songs that tried to tell us. Today we are doing another Tom MacDonald song. I know, we do a ton of him, but he's amazing! And we are going to throw in a few other artists today as well. So today we are doing a song called In God We Trust. It is by Tom MacDonald, Adam Calhoun, Struggle Jennings, and Nova Rockafeller. This song has so much truth in it. It's so well written. Absolutely love it. This came out about a year ago. As of right now, it is sitting at 16 million views on YouTube. The amount of people that have been reached by this song is pretty incredible. So let's jump right into it. Good news, I remembered to turn on my computer before starting this time. Things are going well.
They separate us from our neighbors and they call it social distancing. It's actually a bigger plan, it's called social conditioning. They took away our privacy, there's always someone listening. The election's planning riots for the citizens. The government has always lied, it's history repeating. But the problem is the schools dumb you down so you believe them.
The government has been lying to us for years and years, and the school system dumbs us down to not even recognize that that's what's happening. That is exactly how our society was built. John D. Rockafeller was one of the main people who founded modern public school. His intention behind founding the public school system was not to help us become better individuals or better people or to even become more intelligent. His intention behind it was to make us think the way he wants us to think, to put us into a little box and to make us into good little worker bees, which takes away our humanity. It takes away our ability to look at things analytically, to think critically, and it manipulates our brains into believing the lies and the deception that the government sets in front of us. What kind of lies and deception am I talking about? I'm not going to go into detail on any of these things, but I am going to tick off just a few things that I believe were majorly deceptive. The government was involved in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. We did not ever land on the moon. The government was involved in the sinking of the Titanic. The government was involved in 9/11. Those are just a few things. I highly suggest that you look deeper, ask questions. And I'm not saying go look at old news reports because that's where all the lies were. They were manipulating and they were lying and they were changing things. I'm saying now they've released CIA documents that basically admit to the JFK assassination.
No bullshit.
They killed him. Let's just get it out of the way. They killed him.
You'll read, David Lifton's book, Best Evidence, and you'd be like, there's no f***ing way. They killed him. When Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald, he went to visit Jack Ruby in prison. And from that moment on, Jack Ruby lost his f***ing mind. He was hiding underneath the bed, saying the Jews are being incinerated, they're coming to kill us all. He was chirripping balls. They just dosed that guy into a f***ing coma. And then after they dosed him into a coma, they gave him cancer. And he was dead like within a year.
Wow.
And it's all connected.
It's all connected.
The idea that no one was involved in that assassination other than Lee Harvey Oswald, that doesn't make any sense. Lee Harvey Oswald was traveling back and forth to Russia. He lived in Russia. He's married to a Russian woman. Like, the fact that this is in the middle of the Cold War, they're not investigating this guy. Get the f***
I think he was a
here.
patsy, bro. I think they set him up from A to Z.
Yep.
Somebody was giving him money.
Go look at things like that. Go look at video footage that other people have. Did you know there was a Building 7 that went down in 9/11 that we rarely ever hear about? And if you look at the way Building 7 went down, there was never a plane that ran into it. And it was right next to the Twin Towers. But the way that it comes down is very much the way a planned demolition occurs. Why was that building taken down? Those are the questions you've got to be asking. The government is lying to us about so many things.
If you try to speak the truth inside a tweet, then they delete it. Whole administration Satanists who claim they praise in Jesus. Every year there's a new name for enemies that we're facing. It's Al-Qaeda, then ISIS, and now American patriots.
The politicians are Satanists. 100% that's true. Our government is run by people who worship Satan. So if you are a Christian, that should be a major problem for you, that they're literally worshiping Satan. And oftentimes in the media, they are doing satanic rituals right in front of us. The music industry is the worst for this. If you watch music videos and award shows and different things like that, they are literally doing satanic rituals right in front of us. In fact, there was a satanic ritual that was in a commercial in the Super Bowl this year. If I can find it, I'll show you.
name is and I'm a witch that has been practicing for 42 years. Through the means of witchcraft, I can affect the outcome of the game. I believe the odds are in my favor that I can have an effect on the game. Witchcraft has been here since the beginning of time because it works.
They're telling us to our face that they are doing spells and satanic rituals and witchcraft and all kinds of things right in front of us. And the government is involved, the politicians, the celebrities, the elites, the most wealthy people at the top of our society. They're all involved in this. They're all Satanists. And they used to do it in a more secretive way. And now they're just outright blatantly showing us the agenda. And so many of us still don't even see it.
Who would have thought those who love the country the most would be hated on by folks who call America home? Both political parties are equally just as evil. They've been working for themselves, don't give a damn about the people. Black, white, yellow, brown, humanity needs you. Cause united we stand, divided they will defeat you. The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
Okay, as we've already established, we're being lied to in so many ways by all of the people who are in control of the information. I love that in this they say, we don't know who to believe, so in God we trust. And really, that's what it comes down to for all of us. We don't know who's deceiving us all the time. I mean, we have discernment and we have the ability to ask questions, but sometimes we don't even realize that we should be asking questions about these things specifically. And it's so manipulative and it's so in our face all the time that it's very easy for us to not recognize the deception that's happening right in front of us. So we don't know who to believe, but in God we trust. God will never deceive us. We can always trust in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And if we follow him, then even if we are confused or we misunderstand different things or we're still being deceived in different ways, everything will come together and it will be okay because Jesus wins. We already know that.
Y'all missing what was written in them pages. That was history they wrote, now you want to change it.
This is one of my biggest gripes with the last few years is that we're just changing history. All of a sudden, Christopher Columbus, we're not supposed to revere this man who did an incredible work in finding this new world for us and bringing people to it. And that took so much bravery and so much courage. I think that Christopher Columbus did wonderful things. Now, was he a perfect man? Of course not. Did he probably do things that I would be really uncomfortable with? Yeah, but it was also 500 years ago, and I don't understand the culture, and I don't understand how things worked back then, and I'm not going to judge him from my current lens based on how he functioned in an entirely different world 500 years ago. That's not fair for me to judge him like that. And we are twisting, specifically, I just keep thinking of Christopher Columbus because that's the one that everybody says, he was evil and he's terrible and we shouldn't revere him and we shouldn't have a Christopher Columbus Day. It needs to be Indigenous Persons Day. Okay, but we don't know all the circumstances. What we know is what people chose to write down. That's it. There are so many instances that we can look back on and the history is just being twisted. It's being changed. It's being adjusted. We have this idea in America that slavery only occurred with Black people and that's why they need reparations and that, all these awful things happened to only them, when in reality, there were Jewish slaves and there were Irish slaves and there were Slovakian slaves and Scandinavian slaves, and like every color, every ethnicity has been enslaved at one point or another. And really, if you want to look at it from a slightly different lens, we in the system are enslaved today because we are enslaved to money and to debt and to our jobs. And that's exactly what John D. Rockafeller was trying to accomplish when he created public schools, is to create a whole society of slaves that will just generate more money for him and the other fat cats. History is being tweaked to fit the current narrative of what people want us to believe, which is not okay.
You racist, you hate this. Why you want us all to be locked up in cages? I can't stand the left, everything they say is depressing. Ship them to the Middle East, they can learn oppression.
In the Middle East, it is literally illegal to be gay. So, like, people here in America talk about, oh, we're so oppressed. Oh, we can't live freely. The fact that you can even say, hey, I'm attracted to the same sex, that is freedom right there. Because in the Middle East, if you were to admit that out loud, you could be put to death. Like, literally, right now, today, that's how they would handle that. So this idea that we're oppressed as Americans is just mind-blowing, because the fact that we can have these open discussions, the fact that we have public speakers like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and other people like that that come out and say these considered controversial things, and then we can have other people ask questions and present other ideas. There's this YouTube channel called Jubilee where they bring people together from two different sides of different arguments, all kinds of different things, and they just have a conversation, and they have some prompts about different ideas that are usually current event related in some way, shape, or form, and they have a conversation about it from both sides. That right there is freedom. If we were oppressed, we would not be able to have any sort of discussion like that. It drives me bonkers when people scream oppression, because we are not. We are absolutely not oppressed. We are blessed and we are free, and it is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Believe me, I mean this quite literal. I love liberty, but I liberals. Wear a mask, stay home, complain and moan. Talk about privilege on your phone in your Range Rover, Starbucks, mango, foo-foo, whatever. The cloth I'm cut from can handle any weather. You just paper in the rain, we ain't the same. Stand for the flag, only kneel when I pray.
I love that he says, stand for the flag, only kneel when I pray. Absolutely. I will only kneel for my God, and I will stand and show respect to the American flag. There's so many videos now of specifically teachers saying how uncomfortable the American flag makes them, or calling it the Trump flag. It's not the Trump flag. It's people who love this country, who recognize the freedoms and the blessing and the wonderful opportunity that it is to live in this country. That's why we cleave to that flag so hard, because we love the freedom and what this country once stood for.
I just pray we go back to the old days, land of the free, home of the brave.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
Yeah. I see through all the illusions, refuse to hear rumors or accept that we're losing. Easy to get caught up, consumed by the consumer.
I love that he says he refuses to believe that we are not winning. And I agree. I think the vast majority of Americans lean far more conservative than we realize. The ones that are super far left are very, very loud, and they're very in your face about the things that they believe. But I don't think that that's the majority. I think part of our issue right now as a country is those of us that are conservative have been told again and again that if we stand firm in our Christian beliefs, that makes us racist and bigot and all kinds of other insane labels and names that they've given us. It's just not true. Standing firm on Christian values does not make you unkind. People are scared to stand up and speak truth and say that, yeah, I don't think that we should be transing children, and I don't think that it's normal for a grown man to be wearing almost nothing and twerking in front of small children, and I don't think that it's acceptable for everybody to be forced to get some juice in their arm or lose their job because it's unkind to your neighbor if you don't get juiced. All of these kinds of things that we're being told now, it's just simply not true. It's the deception and it's the manipulation. And more of us need to find the courage to stand up and speak truth and speak out on the way that we see things. The vast majority are far more conservative than we are liberal.
Truth is so diluted, people starve off their confusion. Comfort is the killer, your dreams execution. Cool with persecution if I make a contribution.
Comfort is the killer. I love that line. When we are comfortable, we are not growing and we are not progressing. We have to get uncomfortable. And I think that's part of what's happening right now too, is that in order for us to grow as a country, we've got to get uncomfortable. We've all been comfortable for far too long.
Home of the brave look like a mental institution, and there will be revolution if we can't find resolution.
It is, in fact, a mental institution to live in this country now, at least in a big city. We live, as you can see, we live in the middle of Nowheresville, and it's really super cool. We used to live in a big city, though. My husband used to work for a very large city in our state, and it's herd mentality is real. And those protests were freaking insane in 2020. And it has just gotten more and more mentally unstable since then, which is, it's something, huh?
And a threat is a promise. Stand up, pay homage. They tell lies, I'm being honest. Test of time is upon us. I know that God got us, so I'm fighting in his honor. Hear the cries of the crusaders as we're strapping up our armor.
I know that God's got us and we're fighting in his honor. 100%. So many times I have been told that as I'm speaking out about things such as transitioning children and drag shows and different things like that, I'm being told that I'm unkind and that Jesus is kind. Yeah, he is. Absolutely, 100% Jesus Christ is kind and loving. However, he is not affirming in delusion. Jesus Christ does not affirm us in our sin or in our fallen state. It is quite the opposite. He comes to us and he shows us a better way. He does it in a very loving manner, but he shows us a better way and he expects us to change. He does not allow us to stay where we are if we intend to return to God's presence, because we can't. Yes, he made up the difference for us. Yes, he made it possible for us to return, but there has to be some effort on our part. And if we are truly embracing the gospel of Jesus Christ, and if we are truly allowing the Spirit of Jesus Christ into our hearts, then we will want to change. We won't have a desire to do the things that we did before he became part of us. That's an important point that I think gets lost a lot in this. Well, he just loves people. Yeah, he does. He always does. But he also has expectations for us.
Either set a higher ground or drown in a drama. If I die for what I love, then my death will be nirvana. We fighting for our freedom, don't believe what they've been feeding. Be the change you want to see, the warrior that we're needing.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust. We don't trust the news, the government, or pharma.
That is real right there. Because they're all corrupt and they're all deceiving and they're all just greedy. Cool.
We just want freedom, that you have that to offer. We don't want the lies, the politics, or the drama. We just want the life that was promised by our fathers. We don't trust the news, the government, or pharma. We just want freedom, that you have that to offer. We don't want the lies, the politics, or the drama. We just want the life that was promised by our fathers.
The life that was promised by our fathers. So we were told if you go to college, you get a degree, you get a good paying job. Now everything is going to be wonderful. You're going to be able to afford the house with the white picket fence and the car, and you're going to have a wife that can stay at home and raise your children like 1950s, right? Unfortunately, 70 years later, our world is nothing like that. Inflation is insane. Our wages have not met with that. And I honestly think that the feminist revolution, we've been given the ability to vote. I think that's super great. However, what have women gained from this revolution? I mean, it used to be that our sole responsibility was to stay at home, to rear the children, clean the house, cook meals. We didn't have to worry about finances. There was no sort of guilt if you weren't bringing money in for the family. And your husband was able to find a job that made enough money that you could make ends meet, that you didn't have to worry about that. And now with this movement, which, by the way, was also a manipulative scheme by the government to be able to collect more taxes. Because before, in like the 1950s, when only the husband worked, they could only tax the income of the husband. Well, now you get the wives out of the home, you make them think that they have to work, which the war that was also orchestrated by the government, that pulls women out because now all the men are gone. The women have to work. And when the men come back, they continue to work. Now the government gets to tax 2 adults in every household instead of only 1, and they get more money in their pockets. So the life that we were promised by our fathers is no longer an option. Now, there are ways that we can make sacrifices and that we can work around things and we can do different things to get somewhere close to that life that was promised. But the world that we live in is nowhere near the world that it was back in the day when you could have that American dream white picket fence.
The man on the news says the problem is me. I'm just a small town boy with big American dreams. The world's going crazy and they lying to us. Don't know who to believe, so in God we trust.
So good. I love the message in that. I love the idea of there's deception everywhere. We know that it is. They called out so many different places and instances in that song about where we're being deceived and by whom we're being deceived. But the fact of the matter is, it all comes back to Jesus Christ. In God we trust. If we trust in Him, then everything will be okay. And in fact, it takes away that anxiety if we're trusting in Jesus Christ and we trust that what the book of Revelation says is truth, that things have to get dark like this, that the world has to become wicked, that we have to live in a Sodom and Gomorrah type society in order for things to fall and in order to usher in the return of our Savior for the second coming. This is all biblical. This is all planned. And as we recognize that, we can have peace, even with all of the chaos and the insanity that's happening around us. If we put our trust in God, then it's going to be just fine and there is nothing to fear. Thank you guys so much for watching this Song That Tried to Tell Us. And make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to keep seeing more videos of this series. Have a fantastic day, everybody. That and Mama signing out. Peace.